in the bottom right-hand side of Death Aura LE. Hang on. It's our blue Terran player from Storm Gaming. His name is Epic. And his opponent, in the top left-hand side in the red, repping Team Alpha X and Canada, it is Maru Kim. MaSa. Excellent. Excellent. All right, we are getting in, and I've just got some great news, guys. This is actually not going to be the last series of the day. I was expecting it to be done, but we actually, the admins are just telling me, since the main stream has been running a little bit slow today, they're actually going to add another series on to the B stream here. So if you thought you were done with me, you were wrong, and I was wrong too. We're going to be covering Neeb versus Namshar on this channel after this series. So this TBT will actually not be our last series of the day. I got one more to cover. Hey, what great news. Excellent, excellent. All right, so it looks like factories down here for both players. The only big difference right now is nothing. There's no big difference here. Almost identical builds from these players. MaSa is getting a slightly earlier gas than Epic, but Epic should be dropping down that second gas right away. Yeah. Looking really good for Epic here. Slightly later gas, that is going to allow him to get one more SCV out. Maybe a little bit more quickly than his opponent, but so far, very even Stevens on both sides. Exactly what you'd expect from these two Terran players who know each other so well. These players obviously run into each other all the time. They probably talk to each other a fair amount. Terrans in North America have got to stick together. There aren't that many Terrans that are that super competitive in the North America region, so I imagine these guys have a lot of sharing that they do. Interestingly, check this out. MaSa going for a forward starport here, proxying it out in the middle of the map, and that means we're going to see Hellions getting dropped here. MaSa already has his first 2 Hellions out on the map, cranking out 2 more, and we're going to see a 4 Hellion drop into the main base of Epic. Now, interesting choice here to go for the starport by the natural. What? Is he going? Wait, what? Okay, he's going Liberator instead. Yeah. Normally, you'd see this as a 4 Hellion drop, but since it's in such a weird spot, yeah, normally if you're gonna, I guess if you're gonna drop, you'd build the starport here, wouldn't you, to get up into the main base, and then you'd be able to take down these poor SCVs with the Hellion shots. As it is, he's gonna go Liberator instead, so he's gonna try and get the Hellions to run into the natural, set up that Liberator over the natural or the main, and get some 1-2 punch damage done. Seeing these 4 Hellions, though, should be a bit of a tell here for Epic. He's gonna be like, wait a minute, that's a lot of Hellions, boys and girls. I don't know what these are all doing, and it does seem as though Epic's going to lose his Hellion and his Reaper here. Going to try and hope that this Widow Mine with 6 Marines hybrid drop is going to get something done. But MaSa is going to spot it here with the Hellions. He's going to see this drop coming. This is a huge spot for MaSa, who should be able to get something out back home. A couple Marines, maybe. Oh God, he's going to hit a Cyclone, but he's going to wish he had. He's going to wish he had Chrono Boost right now. That Cyclone not going to be done in time, and this drop actually going to get a fair amount done. It's going to bring MaSa all the way back home. He cannot afford to let this drop take over his entire natural. Marines mowing down a couple Marines that pop out here for MaSa. The Widow Mine shot does down, but not a lot of kills there on the Widow Mine shot. He actually target fired the SCV that was going into the refinery. So a bit of a mistake there from Epic not retargeting that Widow Mine, but doesn't get any damage done. The good news is he slows his opponent down. MaSa was hoping to be in the natural with these Hellions right now, scorching hordes of SCVs, but that's not going to be the case. He's not going to be able to get any of that done. A really nice defense there by MaSa, but of course it did cost him a lot of tempo in this game. I don't know how much tempo costs. He's a great commentator, so we'll see. Anyway, this is still going to look good for MaSa here. He's got to get out of here with the drop coming back into the natural, but I think he's going to be just fine. Drop will rotate into the main. Shouldn't get much done. That Cyclone really does need to lock onto the medevac and stop this drop from happening, and there it is. The Cyclone locks onto the medevac, and the medevac will go down. This drop will get taken care of. Only 2 SCVs go down, and Epic's actually going to use this as the basis for a push across the map. This is a little surprising to see Epic going for such a push. MaSa hasn't really lost that much. Look at the resources lost tab. Obviously, Epic hoping to get a really nice supply advantage over his opponent, but MaSa actually has a greater army supply than his opponent. So MaSa's going to be able to defend against this. I think the Hellions and even the tank and Vikings out here, he's got a very beefy army, and it's exactly what the Doctor ordered here. He's got a Viking advantage. The Cyclone locks on. Air advantage now firmly in favor of MaSa, and with the high ground, he's going to be just fine. And yeah, that's going to force Epic all the way back home. Epic eats a lot of damage there, and MaSa has some more surprises up his sleeve, sending this Liberator across the north side of the map, and MaSa is going to give chase and try and catch Epic on the retreat. Stim on the way now for Epic. MaSa not committing yet to bio or mech, still just on this 1-1-1, but getting a third command center could be indicative of bio play. Oh god, Epic just losing so much here. Did not need to throw away those units. A good snipe though from MaSa, and he's going to put on the pressure now. 10 army supply advantage for MaSa. In fact, that entire army supply advantage is in Vikings right now. Epic trying to crank out 2 Vikings at a time, but the air superiority still firmly in MaSa's favor. Epic is not going to get an advantageous trade right now with those Vikings. Looks like the Liberator harass has been taken care of by these 2 Vikings, has been delayed by these 2 Vikings from Epic. A good scan though from MaSa, sees there's not that much in the main base here. This Raven going to go down instantaneously. Auto turret barely landing here. The Vikings going to get picked off here. Tanks from Epic retreating back into the main base right now, but this is a huge win for MaSa, who's getting some nice pot shots off on the main base of Epic. He's setting himself up in a very annoying position, and these tanks can reposition all they want, but look at the tank control right now from MaSa. Still out of position, still forcing Epic out of position here, and of course the Vikings, with air superiority, able to drive back the Vikings of Epic and maintain a better siege tank range. Remember, for those of you who don't play a lot of Terran, siege tanks can actually fire further than they can see. So having air superiority allows your tanks a greater firing range than your opponent's tanks, basically. And that means that MaSa is able to get great trades here. Epic trapped on his base. Now, let me point out that MaSa is doing something really smart here. Not only sniping the third of his opponent, which is huge. I don't know why the hell he didn't just lift that off. Bit of a mistake. He's going to go ahead and go for the push here. But Marines on the high ground trying to gun down what they can. The Liberators are here, though, and the Liberators getting some good shots on the tanks. The tank count dropping like a rock in a pond. Epic going to lose 7 SCVs here. He will finally clean MaSa up. MaSa going to go back home, but what I was about to point out is that MaSa has not overcommitted to this attack. Very, very wise by MaSa not to parade push across the map and send all his units one by one by one. No. What has he done behind this? Factory. Third command center moving into position. More SCVs. He's on 62 workers to the 47 of his opponent. So if you just looked at that fight and you looked at the orange army supply numbers, the bottom, you'd be like, oh, that doesn't look so bad. Epic's 3 army supply behind. His tank count's still at 3. He's got some Vikings in the air. Surely he's fine. The real problem right now is not the army supply graph. The real problem is the income advantage graph, which is just about to spike out of control for our boy MaSa. Remember, Epic has been supplementing his income with mules from 3 command centers, 3 orbital commands. That third orbital command up in the main base wasn't landed, but it was still dropping mules, still building more SCVs. The real problem right now for Epic is that third base has been destroyed. His mule count has gone to hell, and his SCV count is gone as well. 68 workers to 50. That's almost 20 more workers for MaSa right now. He's in such a strong position, and he's still just sticking to the plan, going mech against this bio of Epic, and this is a beautiful position to be in as a Terran mech player. If you want to get mech on the field, you want to do so when you have an income advantage. Mech is a little bit more expensive to get into initially. Once you have the units out, it trades more effectively, but the real danger of mech is when your opponent sort of hits that early power surge of bio, when they just finished their 5th racks and they're cranking out Marines 8, 9, 10 at a time. Stim and combat shields are finished up, and they can usually hit you with a pretty scary early game push because you're like still building, like 2 tanks against 40 Marines, and you're like, oh, these would have been good later in the game, but they're not. But now that MaSa has secured himself a huge economic lead, he's going to be able to drive back just practically anything that comes his way. Big danger drop coming from Epic, but I think this is going to get spotted by... Oh, MaSa moving his barrack out at the wrong time. But the SCV is going to spot it. Oh, the little SCV that could is going to see this massive drop, and this kid deserves a medal. The drop going into the natural here. The Liberator responding. MaSa a little bit slow to respond to this, actually. The tanks are going to siege up here, but he's got some counter pressure going on. His own Liberator getting plenty of kills before it's mowed down. I think this drop is going to clean up pretty easily. The last of the medevacs go down, and the tanks re-sieging here again with air superiority. MaSa should be able to outgun these tanks. He's going to land the Vikings, and Vikings rip their way through siege tanks. 1, 2, 3, 4, kablooey! All those tanks going down. Now, MaSa did lose 19 SCVs, but even with 19 SCVs down, look at the SCV counter. It's 62 to 59. MaSa still ahead. economically. That was a great play from Epic and exactly what he needed, but I think MaSa's still in a pretty decent position this game. Remember, he's going mech, and mech tends to scale a little bit more efficiently than bio does. So as long as MaSa can keep a big mech force on the map, he's going to be in a strong position as the game goes forward. Still a good drop from Epic, though, and this game far from over. That was certainly advantageous for Epic, as opposed to MaSa. All right. Let's go, Maru. MaSa, by the way, is a South Korean player who moved to Canada a long time ago and now represents Canada and lives there. Is a citizen, I believe, of Canada now. But his first name, his given name is Maru. So a lot of people call him the one true Maru, or Maru Kim, or by his real name. So it's a little bit funny that the Korean player, Jo Sung-ju, is named Maru, which is MaSa's name in real life. Nice siege position here from Epic. Honestly, going to get a bit of an annoying position, but of course the Liberator just going to allow this to absolutely cruise. Where are the Vikings for MaSa? Slightly out of position. I'm not actually sure where any of those Vikings are for MaSa. What the hell are they doing? Oh, they're preventing a big drop into the main, I guess, but the Liberator is going to get taken down by these Vikings, so a bit of a free Liberator kill from Epic. MaSa not being the most exciting player. Not being the most responsible player. So, he's going to lose that Liberator, but he's still in a good position. 89 army supply to 79. These Vikings can catch the tanks. The tanks can siege up a little bit late, and I think MaSa's still going to find himself in a really nice defensible position here. 4 bases to a 4th base now on the way for Epic, but of course MaSa's 4th base already planetaryized, and he's going to be just fine, man. Even adding these missile turrets in so that nothing can sneak past the backside. The starport was almost going to go down. I'm surprised Epic's not finishing that off, actually. That is MaSa's only starport, I believe. No, he's got a second one back home. Okay, he's good. Second starport back home, cranking it out, and here we see the tanks caught unsieged here. Both lines of tanks unsieged about the same time. The Hellion count dropping incredibly quickly there. Slightly better trades for Epic, but MaSa is still ahead. The Vikings still able to pick off all those medevacs. And with no medevacs, that means these Blue Flame Hellions are going to mow their way through these Marines and Marauders, roasty toasting anything with 2 legs and a gun for Epic. Epic has these 2 tanks out in the middle of the map now, but the Liberators, of course, are here. And with the Vikings and Liberators actually on top of each other, finally, we're going to see MaSa with a bit of synergy between his units here. The Liberators, so she should siege up on top of the tanks. Tanks will go down. A weird engagement from MaSa there. Did not need to bring all his Hellions in here. Again, trading a little bit less efficiently than I would have liked, but I still think he's in pretty good shape. Bio forces from Epic coming across the map. Epic doing a nice job trying to keep the pressure on, and the tanks unsieged right now from MaSa, but the Bio army is just going to see that there is so much here from MaSa that Epic is not going to be able to get anything done. Vikings will move forward. Second Viking gets sniped down, or second medevac gets sniped down there, and the Viking count from MaSa very healthy right now. There's a reason MaSa's not building any more Vikings. He's already got a really, really nice Viking count, able to not only siege up his opponent with all these tanks and Liberators, but also able to defend fairly well, grabbing a 5th base. Planetary will be finished up, I think, just as Epic hits it. Epic might be able to clean up this planetary fortress, but it's still going to be pretty ugly for him to do so, and this should drive MaSa all the way back to deal with this. Now, ooh, this is really interesting, actually. Epic might get caught between a rock and a MaSa place here, as MaSa's bringing his entire army to deal with this. Poor target firing from Epic right now as the planetary is ripping through him. He's not focus firing down the SCVs that are repairing, and these SCVs are going to repair the planetary, and Epic's going to lose his entire army. As we said, a nice recall there from, a retreat there from MaSa to catch the army of Epic halfway between the planetary and the main army of MaSa. And again, a bit of a mistake from Epic there not to target fire down those SCVs a little bit more quickly. He wasted a lot of time with his Marines gunning down the planetary itself and not the SCVs repairing. Of course, Marines don't do a whole lot of splash damage, so those SCVs were just fine. MaSa again responding to a bit of a drop. I will give kudos to Epic here. He's doing everything you need to do as a Terran player when you're way behind economically, when you're way behind technologically, when you're way behind militarily. You gotta keep the pressure on through drops, and he's doing a good job of drawing MaSa all the way back home. But I think with this final drop cleared up, there's not that much drop potential remaining for Epic, and MaSa should be able this time, fingers crossed, we hope, to push across the map and get some real damage done. Marauders in droves coming out from Epic. Marauders, of course, a great choice against armored units like those tanks. but I don't think it's going to be enough here. These tanks could be caught unsieged, and if they are, Epic's going to be in a world of trouble. Only 2 Liberators here. They're going to siege up at a very safe distance, and of course they're going to be priority target to get those Liberators down, because the Liberators can rip through tanks very quickly. If the tank count goes down, it's going to be dangerous. Actually, the Marauder's doing an amazing job here from Epic, and MaSa's going to get torn apart. What? Epic winning that fight. MaSa taking a fight he should not have taken. The Liberators getting focus fired down. The Viking count getting dropped down considerably. Almost all the Vikings evaporating there. 23 Vikings have gone down. Down to just 1 now for MaSa, and that was a great fight for Epic. Look, he's still behind. He's still like a base behind. He's still 20 workers behind, and MaSa's still going mech here, but MaSa's just taken 2 or 3 consistently bad fights in a row. Liberators finally doing what Liberators are intended to do. Ugh. And picking off some of those tanks. Finally, Epic's tank count down to only 3. 14 tanks out for MaSa. He really just needs to unsiege and go. He's got so many tanks wrapped up back home defending all these locations. Yeah, they need to take back. They need to unsiege and just go. I think MaSa's forgotten about a number of these tanks. A lot of his army supply tied up back home right now, and that's why a lot of these fights are going in Epic's favor. Epic still going for drop play. MaSa's not going to see that. I'm a little surprised to see Epic going for the drop. He must know he needs these to defend. Yeah, he definitely does. Bringing these drops back home can get him on top of the tank. Epic, what are you doing, man? Commit. Commit. You got to do something. He's going for the flank here. The Vikings are going to catch these, though. And, oh, man, the Vikings should be able to pick off medevacs left and right. Drops on top of the tanks here, but not directly on top of the tanks. They're actually in between the tanks. So even though the Marauders are going to be up the front flank, the medevacs are all going to go down. The Vikings are going to live. And the tanks still exist here. That's the fight that MaSa wanted. A little bit of a sloppy engagement from Epic, and now MaSa can start to slowly leapfrog his Liberators and tanks in, pushing down that 3rd base. It is or the 4th base, rather. It is a planetary fortress, but it's not going to be enough. GG, and MaSa, on the back of some good early game economic damage, able to eke that one out. He was ahead for almost the entire game, but took a while to close it out there. Epic with some really good fights, actually. All right, really quickly, guys, I am going to say we are adding one more series to our docket today. So I thought we were going to be finished up with Epic versus MaSa in this best of 3, but actually we're adding one more on. So after this is going to be a little PvZ action with Neeb and Namshar. So, don't go anywhere. After Epic MaSa, we have got another game! The mainstream, of course, has been having a very long day. A lot of epic best of 3s up on twitch.tv/ESL_SC2. So they have called me in and asked if I would take over one of the series for them before we ended things tonight. So happy to pick up one more game to help out those main casters of the A stream. I believe it's Zombie Grub and Nathanius today on the mainstream? Who is it on the mainstream today? No, that's not right. Zombie Grub, Wardy, and Kilaris. Oh, God, yeah. So they're going to need a bit of a break. Poor guys. They've been casting for a long time today. So we're going to pick up Namshar versus Neeb and do one additional game here on the B stream. So stick around. Don't go anywhere. Neeb Namshar after this. But before we get into Neeb Namshar, guys, we still have a score to settle. All right, and here we go. Spawning. In the top right-hand side of Pillars of Gold, LE. It's our red Canadian Terran player from Team Alpha X. His name is MaSa. And his opponent, originally spawning in the bottom left, but going for that double Proxy Rax. In the blue from Psystorm Gaming, it is Epic. This is so cheeky, and I love it so much. MaSa going for a quick second gas here. Only one barracks, probably a factory pretty quickly behind this. If the factory is first, and he doesn't go, which I suspect it will be because of the double gas. If the factory is first, MaSa has a chance of holding this. Barely. Only one gas, by the way, for Epic, which means it is going to be Reapers. It's not a triple Proxy Rax. If you go triple Rax, and Reapers, you want to get 2 gases back home. But if you only do the double proxy racks, you can do it off of 1 gas and then grab your second gas a little bit later. Reaper coming out here from MaSa, and MaSa does not yet know about this double proxy racks. He's queued right toward it, though. Actually, this could be really rough for MaSa. If his Reaper is queued right toward it and he gets caught by the Reapers of Epic, he actually could lose his initial Reaper here. He's got to be very cautious. We'll see how quickly MaSa can pull away. He's going to see the Reaper, the double proxy racks, and get right back up in the main. Absolutely. Because, of course, yeah, he's going to need to. Bunker goes down so he can protect against this double proxy racks. He knows it's Mass Reaper now. He's seen the Reaper. And here we go. SCV's right on top of those Reapers. Great surround here from MaSa. He's going to be able to grab the first Reaper here, but his Reaper will go. Pardon me. If it doesn't grab the first Reaper here, his Reaper goes down. And actually, in a rare twist of fate here, Epic is going to be able to grab both these Reapers and keep them alive. SCV's pulled off the line. That's a lot of lost mining time here. Second Reaper's out. That should mail down one of the Reapers from Epic. Epic's going to lose one of his Reapers as well. Oh, man. Oh, man. Second Reaper is going to come back here, but the Reaper now out for MaSa. Good grenade from MaSa, saving that Reaper just a little bit. He's going to go toe-to-toe here. Cyclone out, or pardon me, Hellion out now, and with the Hellion out, that's going to save it. Bunker finishes up, and MaSa should be able to defend against this fairly easily. Very well done by MaSa, who's going for a 1-1-1 behind this. Starport about to finish, or just getting started here, which is the right call. A Liberator can do worlds of damage here. A Medevac can obviously do a huge amount of damage, or a huge amount of change in the game. Medevac can do damage. Come on now. Can do a lot of benefits here for MaSa, and now honestly it looks like MaSa has just held this. He's going to lose that. Epic's going to lose that last Reaper, and if you lose this many Reapers on a Reaper harass, it's just not good. It's just not good. This is looking real rough, guys, for Epic. MaSa has defended fairly well, and now seeing this scouting barracks is an immediate indicator for MaSa that, okay, you're going scouting barracks. That means you've given up building more of these Reapers. You're done with this pressure, and I can sit back on my laurels just a little bit. Now, neither player is expanding quite yet. As I say that, Epic throws down. He's got 1 CC in the high ground. No high ground CC from MaSa yet, though, who is just on this 1-1-1. Medevac pops out, and he's going to use this Medevac to get across the map, support these Reapers, and with 13 army supply to 10 and a Medevac, this is going to be very, very dangerous for Epic to deal with. Epic's not going to be able to get this natural down. He does have a good high ground vision there. Ooh, a bit of a missed scan. Oh, there's a nice scan from MaSa, who will now know what's going on. Whew, very unfortunate that Epic moved those units into the scan range. He could have tricked MaSa into trying to jump up the ramp, actually. Scouting barracks, barracks returning back home, no longer a scouting barracks, is actually going to scout some of these units here. Viking going to get an initial shot off onto that Medevac. You got to be very cautious. You cannot lose this Medevac. Scouting barracks from Epic still hanging around here. MaSa unable to get any damage done there, and he's going to be forced to retreat here. Now, what's really interesting is that MaSa's CC is going to be finished up before the CC, Epic's CC is going to be finished up before MaSa's CC is. And this poor barrack is going to get mowed down. CC from Epic already moving into an orbital command. Of course, the CC from MaSa is on site, so it'll be able to get finished at about the same time, I think. Looks like the game going to even out just a little bit more. Epic going for barracks 2 and 3 a little bit earlier. MaSa still stuck on a 1-1-1. Does look like MaSa's swapping over there. This barracks will probably change out with the starport, which means he's going to start up stim and probably drop barracks 2 and 3 quite quickly as well. There's the Marine. And we should see more medevacs popping out of that starport. Going to be a very heavy bio play on both sides. Engineering bay down for Epic just a little bit earlier here. And while that was a good hold from MaSa, he did overinvest in his army supply just a little bit. And we can see that actually the worker count is now in favor of Epic. Reaper's trying to pop in here, but they're both going to get gunned down. One of them going to lose his life here, and the second one might pop forward with this tank. Oh, the Hellion's going to kill steal from the tank. Clearly League of Legends playing Hellions there that popped in. The tank was about to get an easy layup kill, and the Hellions were like, mine! I love it. I love it. Ah! SCV count differentiated by 5 between these two players as the SCVs continue to roll out on both sides. MaSa actually stopping production at 35. There we go, building 36. I was going to say, it'd be interesting if he stopped production completely, but he's still going to go for a push here, and he does have a distinct army advantage here. Look at the unit counting station. A Raven versus a Raven, but more Marines equal tanks, a couple of Reapers. The Vikings are going to be huge here. The Medevac going to be huge as well. And if these Hellions can get some good shots off, MaSa has a very good chance at breaking his opponent tanks. Sieging up on the low ground here. Epic forced to use a scan to find that tank. Nice interference matrix from the Raven there. Counter interference matrix going down. Cyclone locking onto the Raven. The Raven should get out of range. No! The Raven just going to eat those shots. The Cyclone goes down here. This is a great push from MaSa here. There's so much damage being done here. The tanks have gone down, but unfortunately, MaSa's tanks have gone down, but unfortunately, he has so much on the other side of the map. The Cyclone's still alive. The tank barely able to not get that Cyclone down. The Hellion's gonna get cleaned up here. Epic actually defending fairly well here. The tanks for Epic really paying off right there. And, wow, yeah. A little surprising to see MaSa getting smacked down so decisively. Of course, a lot of the army supply right now for MaSa is in these Vikings and in the Raven, which can't do a whole lot when it's just tank Marine on the ground. No medevacs to smack down, no other Vikings to smack down. Now, these Vikings could land on top of these tanks and try and pick them off, be real cheeky, but that'd be a very bold play from Epic. Instead, he's just going to patrol around on top of the starport and try and snipe medevacs when they pop out. Luckily, of course, the Vikings going to be out of position when the medevacs pop, and that means MaSa can't get those free kills. The army supply now even between these two players. Wow. Wow. This game is fraught right now, guys. Epic mounting a truly heroic comeback. As MaSa continues to parade push across the map, drawing these units over one by one, he really should get something back home here. A nice flank from Epic, though. The Vikings going to pick down the medevacs as best they can. Medevac 1, Medevac 2 goes down. The tank from Epic sieging up, but will go down before it gets another shot off here. There is a tank up for MaSa, though, and MaSa finds a great push. Epic a little bit too greedy there, and he's going to lose his last, or second to last tank as well. Only one tank remaining for Epic, and it's at half health. That was the fight that MaSa was hoping for. I don't know why Epic engaged into that. I think he's a little bit nervous about his position, as he should be. Loses another medevac absolutely for free. And as we said in the previous game, and as we say in every TVT, the biggest thing that matters in TVT is that air supply. If you get lost in love and you forget to make Vikings, you simply don't have enough control of the air, and you can't win the game. Oh, very nice. Line of sight blockers being used from MaSa there. That's so smart. Of course, you can't see those Vikings behind the line of sight blockers. The tank goes down. The SCVs, the boys have been pulled off, but the boys ain't back in town just yet, kids. Oh, dear. The Vikings roasting 16 SCVs. And, I mean, what is Epic even think he's doing? Landing his third CC. The Vikings are still here on the ground. Medevac's trying to save, but they don't even pick up any of the Marines. And it feels like Epic is just sort of drumming his fingers on his desk and waiting. Liberator in the main, forcing a loss of mining time. What, 2 Marines going to pick that back? I don't think so. Epic didn't say the magic word. And now his third base gets driven away. A scan from MaSa is like, what does Epic do? Why is Epic still in this game? And the answer is, of course, he just doesn't want to lose in a 2-0 against MaSa. But MaSa has a stranglehold right now. More and more pot shots. Free kills on those medevacs. Oh, those Vikings getting the 5-finger discount on medevac murders today, kids. It doesn't cost you a thing. Vikings now moving into the natural to try to be a little bit more aggressive. How many medevacs have gone down this game? 7 medevacs have gone down. Make it 8. Oh, God, it's full of Marines as well. This game getting uglier and uglier. Oh, man, MaSa's game plan fell off of the ugly tree and hit every branch on the way down. MaSa doing such a beautiful job against Epic here. Again, the tanks sieging up for Epic are quite nice, but I can't believe he's going to lose another medevac there. Wow. Tank sieging up for Epic to try and save his natural, but with no third down. MaSa's third just finishing up. MaSa investing in just the right amount of units here. Not over-investing in, oh my god, the third base for Epic goes down. Is that the second orbital command that's gone down? No, just the first, but gross. Gross here. Epic on 2 bases. MaSa with his third base ready to roll. Auto turret gonna go down and try and drive these tanks back. 1 tank down. Marines in for the second tank, and there ain't nothing left. In the words of Bachman Turner Overdrive, Epic, you ain't seen nothing yet. 7 more SCVs get mowed down, and the Liberator's just going to town on everything that moves on 2 legs or 4. 7 more SCVs go down. The SCV count now almost twice in favor of MaSa. As the third base moves out, MaSa maintains complete and total control. Not a single medevac on the ground for MaSa right now, and his bio army very low, but the medevac's just going for the Epic. What are you doing? Oh, gosh. This is disgusting. This is absolutely disgusting. Vikings getting a couple pot shots off, but honestly, the Vikings could land on top of these tanks again. The Marines can't engage now because they will die from one siege tank shot. So really, I'd love to see a medevac or two come out of MaSa, actually. That could be a huge, big brain play. And there it is, 2 medevacs coming out. He realizes, okay, all my bio, very, very low right now. What a turnaround. What a good pull here from MaSa. Previously in a very dangerous position, and now, woo! He is in great shape. Again, sieging up these tanks in just such a frustrating location. Frustrating location. Drop into the main, and this is where it's really going to hurt here. The pressure in 2 different locations at once. The medevacs finally being pulled in here, and with the production facilities under siege, it looks like the tank is going to have to try and siege up, but of course, siege tanks, slightly immobile units here, and they're going to be just, these Marines are just going to be out of range. Oh man, MaSa, you gotta be careful, buddy. You can't fight against that siege tank, but stay out of siege tank range. Pick off these supply depots, pick off production, pick off SCVs if you can, and you're gonna be great. You're gonna be great. Meanwhile, the front is nothing there, so again, these Marines very low on health, can't quite attack in the front. The medevacs will be pushed away here. A good cleanup from Epic, honestly, but losing 6 more SCVs at a time like this, he's gonna try and go for a counter drop. I just don't see it happening here. MaSa leaving plenty of units back home. He's got tanks defending. He's being so cautious right now. MaSa, of course, in such a strong position that he's going through a mental checklist right now in his head and saying, what could I lose to? What could I lose to? Could I lose to Baneling bombs? No, I don't have to worry about that. Could I lose to Blink DTs? No. Could I lose to maybe a counter drop in my main? I mean, maybe? Tanks trying to draw their fire in a couple different locations here. Nice re-siege from Epic, but again, those landed Vikings that do extra damage to mechanical. Just terrifying. The last of the tanks getting cleaned up here. It's 74 army supply. MaSa now parade pushing across the map, and I think this could be the beginning of the end. I mean, it's been the beginning of the end for a while. I think this could be the end of the end for a while. This Viking gunning down 10, 11 more SCVs. Epic stuck on 2, MaSa on 4 bases now. I mean, really, what else is there to say? This has been a barn burner of a game. GG!